Donald Trump is a ringmaster of multiple shows. Donald Trump is surprising his rival and critics every day by running one of the strangest presidential election campaigns Americans has ever seen. He's hawking Bibles, striking at judges, making billions of dollars in the stock market and boasting about his golf game, and more. Yesterday, Trump traveled to New York to attend the wake of a fallen police officer on a visit that allowed him to deepen his characterization of a nation plagued by crime and lawlessness under President Joe Biden, contrasting to Biden, who wrapped up his post-State of the Union tour in North Carolina. The state was in Trump's column in 2020 and 2016. But Democrats think they can put it back in play. The president put on a show of Democratic unity and invoked the party's glory days in New York with ex-presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama that the campaign said ahead of time had raised more than $25 million. The three presidents repeatedly spoke about the threat a second Trump term, with Biden saying the former president would tear up the Constitution and alluding to Trump's comment that he'd only be a dictator on day one. Biden and his team have also been aggressively taking the campaign to Trump on policy. They used Supreme Court arguments over restricting access to an abortion drug to accuse the former president of ripping away women's reproductive services with his construction of a deeply conservative majority. Trump has always been an outlier, and his refusal to play by the rules of a normal campaign is the key to his political appeal among supporters who despise governing elites. Biden is working in a traditional campaign lane, seeking to repair cracks in his coalition among young people, black voters, and disaffected Democrats. But Trump's strategy can best be understood as a merger of his legal defense in multiple cases in which he claims he's the victim of political persecution. The former president chose to show up in court in New York and then threw a tantrum when a judge set an April 15th trial date in a case related to a hush money payment to an adult film star. Trump, while attending a wake for a fallen police officer on Long Island. Afterwards, he described the officer's death as a sad, sad event. We have to get back to law and order, he said, seeking to portray the U.S. under Biden as a crime-ridden state. In a critical swing state, Michigan, which Trump won in 2016 and lost in 2020, the former president plans to deliver remarks on Biden's border bloodbath in what promises to be an intensification of his immigration approach. President Trump's campaign was far more professional in this year's primaries than it was during his upstart bid for the presidency in 2016. So far, the unseen work that the Trump campaign is doing to build organizations in key states is likely to pave the way for a successful run back to the White House. While Trump has used pre-trial hearings in his multiple legal cases to portray himself as a hounded victim, he will have no choice about being in court starting mid-April for almost 4 days a week, as long as his criminal trial lasts. The trial over charges of falsifying business records related to the money payment might offer a clue to another one of Trump's possible motivations for honoring the fallen officer Diller for getting favorable media coverage before a jury is seated to deliberate his fate. Trump, who is now under a partial gag order prohibiting him from attacking court staff, prosecutors, and their families. Trump targeted Judge Juan Merchan and even referred to his daughter, as she has done work for Democratic campaigns and the former president has demanded the judge recuse himself from the case. As a result, Trump's verbal attacks are not designed to intimidate, but demands action. The coming week, Trump's real estate empire will return to the spotlight. Trump looked on the verge of seeing some of his properties seized by New York Attorney General Letitia James as a deadline approached for him to post a bond worth nearly $500 million to allow him to appeal his civil fraud trial loss. His merged firm, including his media properties, may start trading on the NASDAQ, earning him Several billion dollars at least on paper. The next week. There's a catch, however. The ex-president can't sell his stock for 6 months, and if he eventually does so, he's likely to crash its value. Regardless, Trump is smart enough to manage his business interests.